where we cover important topics that are unlikely to appear in the mainstream media. In today's video, we're going to go ahead and cover Candida auris. Now, we did a video on this about 4 years ago, and it appears as though this problem has reemerged. So we're going to go ahead and update some of the information that we broadcast in 2019 regarding this threat. Now, the CDC has put out an urgent update regarding Candida auris. They found that there is a threefold increase in drug-resistant strands of this yeast. This information was collected throughout 2021. The data from 2022 has not yet been released, but the database shows that there was almost a doubling of cases from 2021 to 2022. So in 2018, just to give you an example of how rapidly this is spreading, first of all, it's been found in 30 different countries. In 2018, there was only 330 cases in the United States. And that jumped in 2019 to 476, and then it almost doubled in 2020 to 756. And then in 2021, it went from 756 to 1,471. And then the data that has been collected for 2022 showed 2,377 cases. And the concerning factor in all of this is the threefold increase in drug-resistant strands. Okay, and so we're going to talk about some of the potential home remedies that you could potentially initiate according to research that has been done on this subject. If we're not able to get the treatment that we need from the hospitals. So this is a prepper channel. Okay, that is why we're making this video. I'm not a medical professional. I'm a guy that likes to read scientific literature regarding specific topics because I'm a prepper. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and give you the information that I have gleaned from the scientific literature. We're going to talk about some of those things today, and some of the subjects we'll be going over will be identification of Candida auris, some of the symptoms of Candida auris. We're going to talk about disinfectants that work to clean your surfaces. We're going to talk about disinfectants that don't work, which is one of the reasons why Candida auris is spreading so rapidly, because there could be a problem using the wrong disinfectants at the hospitals. So we're going to talk about those things. We're also going to talk about the types of treatments that you could expect to get at the hospital, and because we're preppers, we're also going to talk about some of the things that you might be able to purchase now to potentially respond to this threat in the future. Now, if this continues to double every year as it has been, which I'm not so sure it'll double. I'm not an expert in this field, but it seems as though it's been almost doubling, about 75 to 90% every year increase in numbers. After another 10 years, this is going to be it could be a very big problem. So it's something we need to get the information out there now, especially for the prepping community. The prepping community needs to be able to respond to this. So after this video, I'm going to, as I typically do, I'm going to create a prepper's guide, a single-page PDF, and there will be a link in the description box below this video where you can go to archive.org. You'll be able to download that single-page PDF. It's going to have all the information I'm talking about in today's video, with the source link information in it. So you don't have to take my word for it. You can go read about this information on your own, which is what I would encourage you to do, as always. You'll be able to print that document out, share it, and put it in your collection of important information. If you're able to download this video, I would also encourage you to do that. So let's go ahead and get into the general information about this fungus. So Candida auris is not considered a threat to healthy people. All right, but it is a threat to people who use invasive medical devices like catheters and ventilators, things like that, or people who are immune compromised. Right. The reason why this is a very important topic to talk about is because the case fatality rate is between 30 to 60%. Okay, so if you get it, it's very bad odds. So it's something we need to be focused on as preppers. Okay, it can spread from person to person or from surface contact. It appears as though it does not spread through coughs or sneezes. Okay, all this stuff is open source information. This is just what I'm gleaning from places like WebMD. Okay, so you can go and look all that stuff up on your own. Most infections have been occurring in healthcare facilities, right? So this is happening with patients that are undergoing long-term care with invasive devices attached, like ventilators and catheters and things of that nature. All that being said, we'll talk about the symptoms, some of the symptoms, and after I summarize all of these points, we're going to go through these tabs up here on the website or on the web browser to talk about this stuff. We've already covered. Let's see. We've already covered this information. These are the new news articles that have been published regarding that. We've already talked about the key points in there. So some of the symptoms of Candida auris is you're going to experience fever, aches, fatigue. Everything which would be seemingly ordinary could present as something else. But when a person gets infected, particularly someone who's already unhealthy, those symptoms can be fatal. So one of the main problems with Candida auris is that it's very hard to identify. It can be misidentified by common identification systems such as the VITAC2, and this study right here talks about the identification methods. Right, first reported case. This was back in 2017. Okay, reported case in Canada. So they talked about some of the ways it can be misidentified by using VITAC2 system, but it can be correctly identified by the MALDI-TOF using research-only databases and by sequencing the internal transcribed spacer and D1, D2 domains. Now, that might not be important to the typical audience, but I wanted to put that in this video in case these databases go down. Somebody that might be working in a medical facility, that might be of importance to them in the future. So I wanted to put that in this video. Okay, so now we're going to talk about disinfectants that work. Some of the disinfectants that work is going to be bleach, chlorhexidine, and iodine. Silver also works. I didn't put that on there, but there has been a study that showed that nano silver, or aka colloidal silver, is very effective. So this was one of the studies which showed that chlorhexidine is very effective. Okay, the name of the study is up here. Bioforming capability of highly virulent multi-drug resistant Candida auris. This study was done in 2017. All right, and then this study was showed that bleach was effective, but quaternary ammonium compounds were not. So ammonium wipes were not effective. Okay, and this is the name of that study here, which was done in 2018. Candida auris infection leading to nosocomial transmission. This was in Israel in 2017. All right. Now, let's see. Now, this is in regards to, I think, hold on, I think I went one ahead of myself here. Let me see. Yep, I think this was, yeah, I got one tab ahead of myself. Stand by. Now we're going to talk about iodine. I think this was, oh, this was in regards to bleach. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Nope. I'm trying to find. I got so many things. Let's see. Here, yeah, this one was in regards to iodine. So sorry, I got ahead of you guys there. But okay, so this tab showed that, or this study showed that iodine was effective. Okay, as a surface disinfectant. Now, you know, obviously, if you've got a skin infection, iodine is something you can put on your skin as well. So keep that kind of thing in mind. Yeasticidal activity. This is the name of the study, which was conducted in 2017. Yeasticidal activity of chemical disinfectants and antiseptics against Candida auris. Okay, so let's just scroll down here to the results for time's sake. Let's see, it was regardless of whether the test was performed under clean or dirty conditions, the chlorine-based disinfectant and iodine-based antiseptic reduced C. auris, regardless of clade or antifungal sensitivity, to below detectable levels, i.e., they achieved a 4.5 log reduction. Guys, that's like 99.999. That's like, it's, you know, very close to 100% reduction with chlorine and iodine, with bleach and iodine, basically. So, you know, when we're talking about, you know, disinfecting surfaces, those are the probably, as preppers, according to the data here, the results, you would probably want to stock up on those. The ammonia wipes don't really suffice. So let's go ahead and talk about disinfectants that do not work, as was previously mentioned. The ammonia wipes. So let's see. Pardon me. I think I got lost here in all these different studies that I was looking at before the. Well, let's talk about ultraviolet light. Okay, so this study here showed that ultraviolet light was not sufficient in eradicating Candida auris or other Candida species. So a lot of times in hospitals they will use ultraviolet light to disinfect surfaces, but in this case it doesn't work, right? So these are the results of that study right here. Okay, the name of the study is here. It was in Infection Control and Hospital Epidemiology. The title is Relative Resistance of Emerging Fungal Pathogen, Candida auris, and Other Candida Species to Killing by Ultraviolet Light. Okay, so all of these links are going to be in the PDF that I will post a link to in the description box below. Come back to the video maybe in about an hour after I upload it. I will post the PDF there. About an hour after the video uploads. Now, let's see. What was this one? Surface. Okay. Okay. So now, in regards to the ammonium compounds, this study showed that it was less effective than bleach, right? And that could be one of the reasons why this yeast is spreading rapidly in hospitals. That, you know, they might not have proper protocols in place to disinfect their surfaces from this fungus, right? So, you know, a lot of times they might be using these ammonium wipes when they ought to be using some kind of bleach, or they might have some kind of UV lamp, which is typically effective at disinfecting most viruses, bacteria, and maybe even some fungi, but not this one. So it might be time for the hospitals to begin revamping their protocols, their disinfecting surface disinfection protocols. Now let's look at, okay, so this study showed that the treatments that were working prior to 2021, because 2021 is this is the whole reason this live stream is important is because the Candida auris was being treated effectively with a certain class of drugs called echinocandins, right? There were three primary echinocandins that were being used to keep this infection, this fungal infection at bay. And those echinocandin drugs were micafungin, caspofungin, and anidulafungin. Those are the three echinocandin drugs that are typically used to combat Candida auris. And the data which was put out yesterday by the CDC showed that 2021 saw a threefold increase in drug resistance by this yeast infection. So that's important because we need to know how to combat this yeast if it continues to get out of control as it has been. Like I said in the previous video, in the beginning of the video, there's 30 countries which are experiencing problems with this yeast, and it's almost doubling every year, and the drug resistance tripled in 1 year. So if it's doubling every year and the drug resistance is tripling every year, that's a huge problem, especially if we don't have anything to fight this, and it has a 30 to 60% case fatality rate. So that's why we're talking about it today. So this is the study from 2018, which showed the drugs that worked against this fungus, but they're starting to lose their efficacy or their efficiency in combating this yeast. I think I might have just said virus. It's not a virus. It's a fungus. Anyways, so as preppers, what can we get a hold of? What can we stock up on? What can we produce to potentially combat this threat? Because it is a threat, especially if you have a loved one that's going into a hospital with an invasive device attached, like a ventilator or a catheter, or going into surgery or whatever. You've got to worry about this now. Some of the potential I don't want to say home remedies, I don't want to say treatments, because I'm not a medical professional, right? Let's see, how can I word this without getting in trouble with YouTube? Some of this, let's take a look at some of the studies regarding potential home therapies. We'll say therapies. Some potential home therapies that could help with combating this fungal infection. The first one is colloidal silver and povidone iodine. Now, povidone iodine is going to be a topical thing, something you can put on your skin, right? Same with colloidal silver. Now, in 2019, when I initially did this video, there was only research regarding nanosilver on specific species of yeast, right? In eradicating specific species of yeast, but they did not test nanosilver at that point. They did not test Candida auris or silver nanoparticles against Candida auris, but now they have. They tested Candida auris, or they tested silver on Candida auris, and what they found was it indicated it had a potent inhibitory activity, both on biofilm formation and against preformed biofilms. Right? So this study right here was done in 2020, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, January 16, 2020. Okay, so this was roughly a year after the last Candida auris scare. The first scare was in 2019, the beginning of the year. And then a year later, they came out with this study regarding silver nanoparticles basically destroying Candida auris. I postulated in 2019 that this was the case, okay, because there was this study that I brought to people's attention in 2019 that silver nanoparticles, colloidal silver, has a very strong antifungal effect against Candida albicans and Candida glabrata, right? So I postulated that it's probably going to work well against Candida auris, and sure enough, a year later they published the results, and it's effective. So that being said, it might be a good idea as preppers for us to be able to provide something like colloidal silver to our community. Okay, so that being said, it might be a good idea to invest in a colloidal silver generator. They're very inexpensive, for a professional one. They don't cost $50, okay? And then you can get pure silver rods. You can make your own colloidal silver suspensions. And then in the case of an emergency, there you go. You will be the person in your community which can supply something like that to people who may need it. So, as preppers, we always want to stay on top of things. We want to prepare for things. And so that's one of the ways that we can do it. Okay, colloidal silver generator. Look them up. They're very cheap. And then also you might want to look into a bleach generator. I got one off of Amazon for, I think it was $20. The one that I got can plug into a USB. So being able to generate to make your own bleach with salt is also a very very empowering thing, and bleach works well against this. So take that for what it is as well. Some other potential therapies according to the research. Let's go ahead and close out of this. Allison. So Allison is derived from garlic, and in this study from I think it was 2011? Yeah, December 15th, 2011. They compared Allison and fluconazole in Candida albicans biofilm inhibition and suppression. Right now, this was against Candida albicans. And if I'm not mistaken, let me see if Auris is on. Nope. I know there was one. This might not be the right one. Let me see. Okay, we'll talk about this anyway. So, Candida albicans was destroyed by Allison. Allison is a constituent. It's a substance it's a molecule which is found in garlic. Okay, so this study was done in 2011, and it showed significant reduction in biofilm growth. Right, so Allison treated cells exhibited significant reduction in biofilm growth. Right, so this one doesn't show that Allison is effective against Candida auris, but there's the potential there. Just like I said in 2019 about colloidal silver, you might be able to treat, maybe, emphasis on maybe, able to use Allison to help against Candida auris as well. I'm not saying you can. I'm just saying, it's something to consider. It's something it's especially something for the scientists to look further into, right? Because if it's an effective treatment, then we ought to know. It's something that ought to be tested, right? And what we should be doing is at least talking about it, right? We should at least be bringing these things to light. So think about garlic as well. If you like to grow herbs and spices, maybe add a little bit extra garlic this year around, because it might become very useful in your neighborhood. If you're not going to get the colloidal silver generator, you're not going to get the bleach generator, then maybe you could grow some extra garlic this year. Garlic's also been shown to help against the flu and all kinds of other things. So garlic is just an all-around great spice and great herb to add to your garden. So, okay. I think that pretty much sums everything up for the Prepper's Guide. All of this information that I've presented to you today. Oh, one last thing. Take a look at this story here if you have time. Okay, this story was about a young boy who was suffering with cystic fibrosis in the lungs. He had all kinds of lung problems. He was on all kinds of steroids, switching drugs every year. Nothing worked. And then his parents got tired of all of that nonsense, and they put him on colloidal silver in a nebulizer. And the results were astounding, okay? He got better as soon as they began that treatment. And there were no significant side effects which resulted from that, as according to this journal entry, this study. Well, it wasn't a study, but it was the case report, basically. This is a case report from this journal right here, Journal of Royal Society of Medicine. Okay, so I put that in there just for your own awareness. Okay, personally, myself, I feel as though colloidal silver in a nebulizer is safe and effective. That's the way I personally feel. Okay, I'm not a medical professional. This isn't medical advice. Okay, these are just things, true stories, right? That I want to bring to your attention. Okay, so that sums up today's Prepper's Guide for Candida auris. All the information that I presented to you today will be uploaded in a single-page PDF, and it will be posted on archive.org under my profile, Uncommon News 777. So you'll be able to download that single-page PDF. You'll be able to print it out or look at it, review it, go to the source link material so that you can take a second look at everything I presented here to you today. And with all that being said, if you would like to support my channel, if you appreciate what I do, and you want to incentivize me to continue doing this kind of thing, you can consider buying me a coffee. There should be a link in the description box below. The mods can put a link in the chat box for your convenience to go ahead and click on that. And if you feel so inclined to buy me a coffee, there you go. I would definitely appreciate it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the comments. I'll go ahead and get to the comments today. We've got 13 of you in here. So good to see you guys. Elton Butterfield, as always, thumbs up. Good to see you, buddy. SCDHL, just heard about this today on radio. All right. Well, I hope this information is valuable to you. SCDHL number 4. I I put quite a bit of time and effort into this, so if you appreciate what I do, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and come back in about an hour for that PDF document so you can print it out and always have it with you. It's good information. Let's see, Marilyn. Good to see you, Marilyn. She says, my nurse friend told me months ago to start watching for fungus and candida. Yep. I believe it, Marilyn. You know, they're on the front lines. They're seeing a lot of things that we're not seeing. So it's definitely good to take heed to what they say. And if you ever hear anything about that, don't hesitate to send me an email and let me know, and I'll do a special on it. You know I listen to you, so I definitely appreciate those emails, Marilyn. Good to see you, Mindy. Let's see, Chad. I have a big bag of potassium iodide crystals. Fantastic, Chad. Let's see. That will be worth its weight in gold if we have a yes, it will if we have a mushroom cloud. Absolutely right there, which could happen with the way things are going. You never know. Mindy, we use some of light here at work. Good to know it doesn't work. Yeah, absolutely, Mindy. Yeah, definitely doesn't work as effective as bleach. So you might want to get stock up on a little bit of bleach and start using that on your mats. One to be loved. Hospitals have always carried their specific form of pneumonia. It's just additional things now. Yep. And if I did my math right, in about 10 years, we'll start seeing millions of cases. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. One to be loved. Chad, I've been on 20 drops a day of SSKI. I have it in my blood. Wow. Let's see. I'm curious if apple cider vinegar would help. It's been proven to be pretty effective at balancing your gut health. It's something to talk about. It's definitely worth bringing into the public conscience. I wouldn't know. I didn't see any scientific research on that. Nothing in the scholarly journals. But then again, I didn't search for that. So I'll take a look at that too. I'll look into it and see if there's been any research regarding that. I'm in my 50s and I haven't had a jab since the swine flu scare back in the 70s. Didn't take that either. Yeah, I don't blame you there. I don't blame you at all. Did have a tetanus shot. Had a nail go through my boot and red line started creeping up my leg. It did work. Fantastic. That's glad you made that red line go away there. You know what would have happened if it went up to your chest. Yeah, wouldn't be here today talking with us. Just got chop up garlic and literally swallow it like a pill. That's right, Chad. I think if I'm not mistaken, you got to let it sit out in the air for a few minutes so that the Allison will form. I don't know entirely if that's the way to do it, but I'm pretty sure that's what you're supposed to do. You chop it up or crush it up, and then you let it sit out in the open air for a few minutes so that the Allison will form, and then you eat it. Elton Butterfield, thanks. You're welcome, Elton. Glad for your support. Really grateful for your support as always, Elton. Thank you very much. It's worth trying and easy to make. Just nail a hole in 2 ounces of silver and copper to your battery bank. Use distilled water, no salt. 12 volt or 24 volt. Yep. If I'm not mistaken, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it, Chad. Yep. When Candida grows in your bones, you will definitely do something. The pain is unbelievable. Yeah, in the last video that I did about this in 2019, I think I was pretty open about the fact that, if I catch this thing, if I ever caught this thing, I don't care what my thyroid is, about potentially damaging my thyroid with some of these treatments. I would much rather try to eradicate it as much as I could by whatever means, because a 30 to 60% fatality rate is pretty catastrophic. And if this thing keeps doubling as it has been, and the drug resistance keeps tripling as it has been, we're in 10 years we're going to see nothing but the drug resistant strands. It'll be in the millions. I'm not a professional on that. I'm just speculating here. But it does seem as though it's been almost doubling every year. So 10 years out, that's will be in the millions every year. So it's pretty creepy. So that's why we're talking about it. So okay, gotta go. Elton, good to see you. Thanks for joining us as always. Take care, buddy. Share it on Twitter. Well, I appreciate you sharing the content. That definitely helps, guys. If you want to help my channel, sharing the video is one of the ways that you can do that. Always click that thumbs up button, and don't forget to comment. Let's see, Marilyn, I appreciate you too. Wasn't able to listen past the beginning. Listen to the full video when I get home. Absolutely, Marilyn. Definitely appreciate you being here. I definitely appreciate some of the updates that you send me. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you, Marilyn. We had about half-hour reprieve from the rain here in SoCal. It's pouring rain again. Yeah, I heard that, and if that coronal hole stream hits Earth, I think it's going to hit Earth on Thursday or Friday. You guys might want to brace for some earthquakes over there in SoCal. So be careful for some earthquakes by middle of this week. I think about 2-3 days away. So let's see. Chad, thanks. I had no idea. Yep. All right, guys. Well, we're all caught up on the chat. I'm only showing one thumb up. If you guys could hit that thumbs up for me, I'd really appreciate it on your way out. Don't forget to comment and subscribe if you have not done so. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And as always, don't forget, help out your neighbors. Bye.